Okay, Mayor, we're good to go.
Perfect.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of 2024 meeting dates was published in the Hunterdon Review on December 27th, 2023, and the Hunterdon Democrat on December 28th, 2023, and posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall. Action may now be taken. Please join me for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Doyle.
Present.
Barry.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Matos.
Here.
Noel.
Here.
Silvestri.
Here.
And Lee.
Here.
Okay.
Motion to dispense with the reading of the April 11th, 2024 regular minutes.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Doyle.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Matos.
Yes.
Silvestri.
Yes.
And Noel.
Yes.
Motion to approve the April 11th, 2024 regular minutes.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Matos. Silvestri.
Yes.
And Noel.
Yes.
Public comments, 3 minutes per person. It is the policy of the Borough Council that all public comments on an issue shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments may be made on any subject pertaining to borough issues. Comments pertaining to public hearings should be saved for that section of the agenda. Each person may speak once during a public comment section. No debating between residents. Comments should be addressed to mayor and council at the public microphone. Any comments?
Sally from Solitude, Sally Ward from Solitude. I am simply imploring anybody who can think clearly about Resolution 99 to not vote for, to vote it down, not to vote it up, vote it down. It's money that the taxpayers don't need to spend. I think the timing is not so good. The presentation was beautiful on Monday. Y'all did a great job, but I'm not sold at all. It's just not a good time, I don't think, for the majority of taxpayers to spend money that isn't necessary. Oh, and the hummingbirds are here in Highbridge. They're back.
Any other public comments?
Hi there, Kim Ferrier, 41 Fairview. I'm sorry I wasn't able to make the meeting the other night. Heard some minutes about it. It sounds like it was a really nice presentation. I do kind of wish that there was kind of a presentation from the other side, because I feel like I'm not necessarily educated in the historic process. I'm here just from the Grounds for Art perspective, but I'm also here just because I'm a resident of Highbridge and just wanted to bring up just one portion that I just want to address and just make sure that it's thought about before voting. And while I understand the value of preserving historical landmarks and heritage, I believe that it's important to carefully consider the practical implications of such a designation. One of the primary concerns is the potential limitation that may impose to future land and development opportunities. As we look ahead to the next 2 decades and beyond, it's essential to maintain flexibility in the use of the land and meet its evolving needs and priorities with this community. And I submitted this to some of the council people here, and I just request that we either put this vote off or vote no at this point. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Public hearings. Ordinance 2024-012, capital improvement, Center Street and various road improvements. Motion to open the public hearing.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Matos.
Yes.
Silvestri.
Yes.
And Noel.
Yes.
Steve, do you want to kick this off?
Yeah, excuse me. So last year we did the water mains on Center Street. This is a grant we have, a DOT grant, to do all the paving on Center Street, which runs behind Main Street between Mill. So we received a grant for $187,416. This is for $93,000 for the difference in the balance to finish that project.
Anybody else on council? Public? Okay, so great news, another road improvement project paid for by grant. Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Matos,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Noel.
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance 2024-012.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Matos,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Noel.
Yes. Written communications, Adam.
Just the recycling tonnage grant letter.
Okay, I want to introduce old business, but I have a comment, so I'm gonna introduce it first, and then I want to, go into my comment. Resolution 099-2024, resolution for acceptance of award of New Jersey Historic Trust Preservation Fund in the amount of $26,550 for the Taylor Wharton and Steel Company Historic District application. Motion to untable.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Matos,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Noel.
Yes. All right, just real quick, a couple of comments. I also attended the meeting the other night, which was billed as a town hall, which was really not a town hall. And I also would like to give Kelly kudos for organizing this, but it really wasn't a town hall. Myself as I would say, as the mayor and a representative of the governing body, I really didn't receive notification until the last minute. And what happened during this meeting, I know, is that we had a historic committee presentation of the issues. And I'm not saying that anyone did anything wrong per se, other than we had a representation from the committee as a governing body, but they were not the governing body. So, and what I found really interesting when I stood up to try to illustrate it, aside from the governing body, myself, taxpayers, everybody else that, voted for us, I was interrupted very rudely by two people and shot me down when I was trying to make a point of really just trying to keep things realistic of what the expectations could be about certain properties back there. Last year, just to get some truth bombs out there, the Grounds for Art project, which was incredibly successful, there was a grand push to shut that event down under the guise of it being a historic district and we needed more information and they can't touch the buildings and all this thing. Whatever, I know we're over that now, but there is still a lot of concern. The representation from the state, Green Acres, et cetera, while it was lovely to have them on the board or the panel, they claimed that the property would remain open for uses, but, and as we all saw on a flyer very recently, the same panel shut down Nassau Trail, a portion of the Nassau Trails to mountain biking because we didn't have the specific permission. So we don't really know if they're going to shut us down for hanging a picture on the building or what have you. There was claims that the DEP requires this space, Union Forge area, to be repaired, and we're responsible for maintaining the property, and that's actually not true. We're required to make sure that the property remains safe. Remaining safe does not equate to spending millions of dollars to repair buildings. While they're lovely buildings 100 years ago, we may want to, look to salvage that space, but pretending that these are going to be salvageable as a future rec center or it's, very, very far into the future and millions of dollars into the future. The change of use, I tried to bring this up during the meeting. the change of use, we already have the change of use for this property for the Grounds for Art. I don't see that we would need any additional applications. I don't think they answered my question that evening or the other day. You know, I think that deserves some more clarification. Going back to Shopee, which again, I'm not sure we could have a tour. I think a tour would be great because it's an amazing space, it really is, but we're talking millions of dollars to just clear it out of asbestos. You know, if a roof is just, you know, it's like putting an umbrella up over the Titanic. We're talking a lot of work. The Shopee is currently registered as a vacant building with the state. So even if we wanted to do anything, there's no water that runs back there, and we would need an entire sprinkler system installed before we wanted to put so much as a farmer's market or even really allow access. Like I mentioned the tour, I bet they wouldn't even allow a tour. And then the final thing is we introduced our budget very recently. Introduce means we introduce it so we can talk about it. We've seen a lot of feedback on social media. We've gotten emails from people. They don't want to see us spending any additional money. So this grant is right off the bat, just to accept this, is $9,000 out of the taxpayer pocketbook to accept this grant. And maybe that's a great idea, but I would suggest maybe we pause and get through the budget process and make sure we're all on the same page, because right now I see a lot of hypocrisy that we don't want to spend any money, but we want to buy Casa Maya to preserve that building. We want to bring back the printed newsletter. We want to bring back the library, which quite frankly, you know, we don't have the money for. So I think that, you know, from my perspective, I really wanted to get some of this off my chest because I do think it was kind of a one-sided presentation. It was not a town hall as far as I'm concerned. It was a presentation by the Historic Committee, very nice. I think there is some potential there, but I think we should pause. We have the budget, and I do have concerns that we don't want to have feelings hurt that people are making decisions over the budget because of this vote this evening, regardless of which way it goes. But, you know, it is almost $10,000 just in a match that is not in our 2024 budget already. That's all I have to say.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for making that statement to the public. I do appreciate everyone who did come out to the town hall. Yes, members of the chair of the historical committee and myself, the liaison, did make the presentation. We did have representatives from New Jersey Historic Trust Office, State Historic Preservation Office, and Green Acres. The questions that seem to come with this whole historic district process seem to be something that needed to be addressed by those offices directly. Accepting this grant is just to start the process for research for the historic district. And it doesn't just include Shopee. And I know we've used that as a focus because it seems to be one of the buildings that needs the most work. But it's not just that. It does include Solitude House and the office building, Shopee, the lake, the outbuildings that are over by Solitude House as well. But part of this, well, this research process will define what the bounds are. And that's really what this grant is for. As far as the financial piece for it, myself and Councilwoman Ferry have offered to donate our council stipends to pay for this. I spoke with the CFO to see if that was a possibility, and he told me that was okay. So as far as money coming from the taxpayer, that's not going to happen. But this is a piece of the puzzle that needs to happen in order to see if we can move forward and apply for the historic district on the register of historic places. So this is a stepping stone. And we have gone over this. This has been on the agenda since the beginning of the year. And, you know, we have been asked to do certain things. We were asked to do a town hall. If it wasn't done exactly the way it was supposed to, then I'm sorry that it wasn't done the way it was expected to. I thought that getting the representatives who could answer the questions available to you was what was asked for. And everyone was welcome. A public service announcement. Thank you, Brett, for putting out the announcement, and, you know, the office staff just in general at the borough for contributing all the help that they have. And I am grateful for the state representatives for taking their time. It was a 2.5-hour meeting that was off their regular time for them to, you know, to join us via Zoom and answer questions that the residents had. So, and I appreciate everyone's comments, everyone who has come out. I have listened to all of your comments. I understand the concerns. And myself and the committee have heard those comments and concerns and tried to address those concerns as best we can, with also trying to consider the needs of the borough. And according to Green Acres, we are responsible as a borough to maintain the facilities. And no one...
Keep them safe, not maintain, keep them safe.
No one is saying that we're going to turn Shopee into a rec facility tomorrow. So this is maintaining their safety, and it's research. At this point, it's a research process to define the bounds of the district and to work on the application. So that's what this grant is for.
And I'd like to add that when this application is ready to be submitted, it would have to come back to council for a vote. So there's still opportunity for council at that time to make the determination if they wanted to go forward or not. I encourage everyone to watch that video that's on the borough page from the meeting that we had on Monday night. A lot of these questions are in there that were answered that evening. And also, just for clarification, having been the historical committee liaison for the past 6 years and liaison last year, the historical committee, there was no one on the committee or myself, no one was trying to shut down Grounds for Art. It was a communication that was given by the chair, who was then Councilwoman Kelly Matos, just to clarify exactly what they needed to know when they were putting things onto the building. So I think that maybe perhaps needed more communication between the two groups. So I apologize if that was a misunderstanding, but we love the Grounds for Art. We think it's a great idea, and I think it'd be amazing one day in the future if perhaps the Tisco building could be an art museum or something like that. And we're very much in support of Grounds for Art. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
So I've struggled with this from the beginning, and I appreciate the work that you guys have done on this, and I appreciate the historical aspects of the town and everything, but the hurdle that I just can't seem to get past is the state control, that we're just giving the state control of borough property. It's, you know, everybody says, well, it's not that, but I've looked at some things. They can, and as we discussed in your meeting there, they can tell us what we can and cannot do, what kind of materials we can use, what contractors we can use. You know, plans have to be submitted, the amount of paperwork, and it's not just for these buildings. We talked about initially having, you know, the Huskies Field and the Union Forge Park as part of this district. And we've tried to get, so if we're putting, all right, there's a gazebo that burned down. If this was part of the historic district, do we have to go to the state and say we want to put up a gazebo and have to fill out applications and go through that process just to put up a gazebo? I mean, where does it end? So the hurdle I can't get past on this one is the state control. And the fact that we can't ever get out of this district. You know, if the state said every 10 years you can review this decision and make a determination as to whether you want to continue with this, that would be one thing. But once we're in, and they did say something about there's a process to get out, I don't know, as long and involved as the process to get in, and they were very non-committal as to whether they even would consider that. I guess the statement was, we have so many applications for people trying to get in, we don't really look at the ones for people trying to get out. So once we're in, we're in. There's no getting out. And again, that's something that really concerns me with this.
Again, though, this is the
No,
research portion.
I agree it's the research portion, but I see no reason to move forward with the research unless we're willing to move forward with the district. It doesn't make sense to do one unless there's a commitment to do the other. Just the way I feel about it.
Anybody else on council? Okay. I already untabled, so motion to approve Resolution 099-2024.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle,
No.
Barry,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Matos,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Noel.
No.
On to the consent agenda, Resolution 145-2024 through Resolution 150 through 2024. Anyone want to take anything out? Okay. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Matos,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Noel.
Yes.
Introduction of new ordinances. Ordinance 2024-013, amending Borough Code, Chapter 120, Animals. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Matos,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Noel.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-013 shall be published in the Hunterdon Review and/or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of May 9th, 2024. Ordinance 2024-014, approving the amendment to Chapter 275, Property Maintenance to establish Article 4,
Yep.
replacement of lead service lines in the Borough Code. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Matos,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Noel.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-014 shall be published in the Hunterdon Review and/or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of May 9th, 2024. Ordinance 2024-015, ordinance setting construction fees. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Matos,
Yes.
Silvestri, and Noel.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-015 shall be published in the Hunterdon Review and/or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of May 9th, 2024. Council and committee assignments. Councilman Doyle.
All right, the golf committee met on 4/15, explored cost-cutting measures while maintaining return on investment at the golf course. Financials for March are above proposed budget, even though the budget hasn't been adopted yet. They feel like they're on track. And the forecast for April is to exceed, again, the forecast budget. Of note for the residents, on 6/24, there will be, in concert with the 25th anniversary of the golf course, all rounds at the golf course will be $25 per round. And on 6/28, proposed Residents' Day at the golf course, and more information will be coming forth in the Borough newsletter. So look for additional details there. Moving on to emergency services. The fire department, from March 1st to March 31st, responded to 28 incidents, conducted 3 firematic drills, and 1 work detail. A total of 6 volunteers staffed the station on March 30th as part of our mutual aid agreement for the Fire Alliance program. Staff hours for the month of March totaled 315.25 man hours. Breakdown of calls: building fires, 4 calls; medical EMS assist are 3; Fire CO alarm activations are 6. That's kind of an increase. Wire pole fires with a lot of the weather, again, we continue to have those incidents, 4. Motor vehicles accidents, 1, and 1 vehicle fire. In closing, the chief would like to thank the council residents for their continued support. And if anybody has any questions, to contact him here at the firehouse. And if anybody's interested in becoming a volunteer member, to come down any Monday evening. Moving on to, sorry, my printer ran out of ink. Police department. For the month of March, we had 1 assault in town, 2 criminal mischief calls, 5 domestic violence, 6 incidents reports, and 4 motor vehicle crashes. Moving on, all the officers have gone to the range and certified over the past month. One of our officers is taking an investigation course through May, I believe. And we have one other thing. The residential and business security surveys offered by the Crime Prevention Office. They are available to address lighting, doors, windows, and locks. Officers will come and provide recommendation. Officer Guzik is the person in charge of that. Moving on to EMS. EMS had 22 calls for the month of March in Highbridge. 63 calls year to date for the first quarter. 50% of those calls were responded out of the station here in town, reflecting a 25% increase in calls for the borough of Highbridge, and their overall call volume has gone up by 8%. So South Branch has been fortunate enough to recruit and have 14 new members join the South Branch Rescue Squad. Moving on to finance, the budget was introduced last meeting and will be up for review and approval on the May 9th council meeting. If you have additional questions or concerns, please send them to members of council. We do read every one that you send in. That's all I have there.
Councilwoman Ferry.
Okay, this coming Monday, April 29th at 6:30, the Board of Education will be having their meeting for their approval of their budget. So I encourage everyone who's concerned about that to attend in person. If you attend in person, you can participate in public comment. You can watch it online, but you won't be able to participate in public comment. And so I encourage everyone to go. Our school board president is here in the back row. So after the meeting, if you have any questions, she'd be an awesome person to talk to about that. That's all. Thank you.
Councilman Graham.
Our rec committee meeting met on April 2nd. We talked about, there's not much new, it's just we're hammering down to a bunch of dates. One of them that's coming up is the bike rodeo in town. What it is April 30th, K through 4 at 3:30 in the elementary school are gonna have their bike rodeo. We did that last year, but this year I feel like it's gonna be a lot more of a population because they're doing a great job of promoting it. I can't explain. This is just a flyer. It's like, seeing the flyer. But it's really amazing. There's a code you can scan. All participants do have to pre-register, no big deal, just so they know the number of people that are going to be there. But they've actually painted a new traffic garden so the kids, the K through 4 kids have a thing they can drive around. It's a lot of fun. Most of it revolves around bike safety. So April 30th is the K through 4 group at the elementary school at 3:30. And then a week later, May 7th, there's the 5th through 8th graders at the Commons. They're a little bigger kids, so they go to a bigger place. But all of it revolves around bike safety and knowledge about how to ride around on the streets. And obviously, a lot of these kids ride their bikes to school, so they're out there doing the thing. So that's something that we like we started last year. We've really improved on it this year. We have our criterion race coming up on August 10th. We're hammering out the route. It's a little different than last year. I was trying to explain it. It's tighter, I feel like. We haven't hammered anything. I'll just give you a gist of it. Is you go up Main Street, bang a right on Church, keep going, bang a left on either Taylor or Seals, come back. So Main Street is double, like bikes come this way, bikes go that way. They go up around Casamai, come back down. It's a lot more fun. A lot more of the people that rode it last year are like, they didn't like the Mill Street hill. It was a little too much for them. So we definitely took their advice and changed it a little bit. But we still haven't hammered out the route yet, but we're working on it. The flow trails and the pump track are open again. They were closed for a moment because there's a lot of debris. That's what happens over the winter, stuff goes on. But they tidied it up and now it is open again, so that's exciting. The hunting games, we're trying to bang that out. That's our responsibility right now. I don't know if any of you remember that. Lauren and I, we did, what did we do? The Name That Tune, right? That was our thing. We came in second. So it was fun. I didn't do it last year, but I will, again, participate this year. We're still working on what day it is because it's kind of run by Union Township, so they got to communicate with us. And we have these brochures that I've been showing you. They're finally done. Kurt told me. Councilman Knoll told me, so they're going to be cool. We're going to put them all around town. People can open them and look at them. Plus, obviously, you can go on the website, and there's a rec committee drop-down menu, which has been much improved of late with one of our members, John Pish, really got his hands in there and made it much more informative, a lot more pictures, things of that nature. And again, if there's any questions, I do get your emails as well, and I try to respond to them as much as I can. But I think that was it for my rec committee.
Councilwoman Matos.
So we held our first speaker series event at Solitude on the 13th of April. Went very well. Our next upcoming event at Solitude will be our annual Spring Tisco Market, which will be May 5th from 12 to 5. And we spent time obviously working and preparing for the town hall last month. So quiet month, but productive. So, if anybody has any questions or wants to volunteer, history@highbridge.org, or my personal email, kmatos@highbridge.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, spring is finally sprung here at Highbridge. Last weekend, the Environmental Commission participated in the Raritan Headwaters stream cleanup. As always, it was a lot of fun. We collected 15 bags of garbage from the area around Union Forge and the river, and another 8 or so from the Columbia Trail area. The most interesting find, in my opinion, went to Colleen Conroy, who found some kind of a hydraulic hose. We can't quite place it. I don't know if it came off a train at some point. I don't really know. And actually, when the newsletter is available, which will be in the next 24 to 48 hours, there'll be a picture of it. So if anybody can identify it, please let us know what that is.
It looked like an air brake coupling hose.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I used to work at a train.
Okay.
Well, it was what it looked like. I don't know.
Yeah, right. And I'd also like to thank DPW for coming out and taking care of the trash and taking it away for us. This coming weekend at 10 a.m. we have our Arbor Day program at the Commons. I wanted to thank Jersey Central Power and Light for their support there. And they've gifted the borough 2 wonderful maple trees that we'll be planting. We have also received 2 trees from the county, which was kind of a surprise today. They just kind of showed up. So we'll be finding somewhere to plant those too. And also during this event, a representative from JCP&L will be showing us how to properly mulch a tree. I know these mulch volcanoes are a thing. We're trying to avoid those. I also want to thank the Garden Club of Somerset Hills. We received the grant again this year. This is, I don't know, at least the second year that I know of that I've been here we've gotten this. We hope to continue the planting along the Commons walkway and the Highbridge sign in the Commons. So when that planting time comes around, we'll be looking for volunteers to help. It's a great way to meet your neighbors and get your hands dirty at the same time. Green Team participated in the Red Goes Green event in Clinton. Wanted to thank all our members that came out. The weather was, let's face it, it was awful. It was freezing cold. It was windy. We had a really nice time. We worked to try to provide some information for folks on how to inexpensively grow some of your own food. And I think it was a good event. My guess is if the weather had been better, the event would have been much more well attended. The creative team is hosting the Highbridge Paint Out this Sunday. It's going to be a busy weekend. It's a fun event, a great way to support our local artists. Please come visit us at Scouts from 1:30 to 3 to see the junior division. And then at Circa from 2 to 4:30 for the adult division. Also, if you see any of the artists around town painting, just stop in and say hi. And let's see. And also the newsletter will be out, available within the next day or two digitally. If anybody would like a hard copy, they would be available at Borough Hall. And thanks everyone for their work on this, and hope to see everybody at one of our events over the weekend. That's that.
Councilman Silvestri.
Okay, the DPW has taken over maintenance of the dog park and the commons. The stone will be removed and mulch will be installed. Excuse me. The dog park is now closed while upgrades are made. We will let you know when the upgrades are completed and the park is again open. The ball fields have been prepped and cleaned and ready for the baseball and softball seasons. Maintenance of the fields will continue throughout the season. The dates for the Dewey Avenue Recycling Center are now available on the borough website. Brush pickup will start April 23rd and end on May 3rd. Pickup is by appointment only. Call DPW at 908-638-6588 or email Director Metz at bmetz@highbridge.org. The Center Street repaving bid was accepted tonight. Dates and schedules for that work will be posted soon. The DOT grant for the paving of Hart, Central, and Union has been extended until the completion of the Safe Routes to School 2018 project, which has a target time frame in the spring of 2025 for that to be completed. We'll keep you posted as well. After the budget is passed, information for all other 2024 water and road projects will be updated. This week we replaced a water valve on Beaver Street, and several others will be changed in the next few weeks. Customers that will be affected will be notified. We still have 148 water meters that need to be replaced. Please schedule them to have them replaced, or we're going to start finding you to get them replaced. Lake Solitude dock has been repaired. This includes repairing of the decking, the benches, and repainting. As always, any questions or concerns that can be reached at ssilvestri@highbridge.org. Thank you.
All right, so working with our forestry management plan, sent the initial responses over to the forester. Did some quarterly reporting for historic trust grants, 2 of them. Prepared the policy and procedures for the TAP grant for the 2023 project on Bridge Street. Also sent in our assessment packet. Modification was done for the American Rescue Grant that was recently completed. I'm working with Lisco Environmental for our Comline property. Attended a meeting with Teamsters 469. Coordinating with Colliers Engineering. We had to provide some additional information for the congressional funding grants for 2025. Coordinating with the insurance company for the Union Forge gazebo and some equipment at DPW. Coordinating with our town planner on the One Main Street redevelopment plan, and doing some updating with Chapter 275 that was on the agenda, as well as Chapter 120. Onboarding some staff at Borough Hall and acquired some new electronic updates for our tax assessor. That's all I got there.
I really have nothing to add. I participate in just about every single meeting that has been discussed tonight. Couple of things. I just want to remind people, Casa Maya, I know it's a hot topic. It's not owned by the borough. It's privately owned property. They have not presented their plans to the planning board yet, so before everyone gets ahead of themselves, wait until we have something at the planning board that people can comment on definitively from the developers. Soapbox Derby is also coming up. I'd like to share the sad news that our 2 long-term organizers are going to be stepping back. I've mentioned it briefly to the Recreation Committee. It's a lot of planning. It's taking place June 1st. Anybody that might be interested in taking this on, not just for this year, but literally for the next, 5 years and beyond, to keep this wonderful tradition going, reach out to me, reach out to Joe Dispenza, reach out to Jamie Taylor, reach out to Chris. I mean, there's a lot of people. We desperately need some volunteers for that event, and that's it. So, legal issues, Barry.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Approval of bill list.
We did have 2 last-minute additions, which brought it up slightly, but the total is $2,454,429.02.
Okay, motion to approve the bill list.
Move,
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle,
Yes.
Barry,
yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Mato,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Miller.
Yes.
Okay, on to the second round of public comments. 1 minute per person.
Hi. I'm not sure if it's the right form, but I asked a couple of times about paving Dennis. I was told that after they installed gas lines that they were going to repave Dennis, but it hasn't been done. They sort of went down Sullivan and they like stopped right off the Dennis. Dennis was pretty banged up. So I don't know. I understand that different roads are going to be paved at different times, but I was hoping it could be bumped up. If anybody ever drove on it near the bank, it's pretty bad, especially once you get on it. It's almost like your car dips down real low. If you got a low car, you're going to hit. So I just wanted to bring that up. Also, there's like a moat around my house. I guess it's like a drainage. And I understand that they're going to be building apartments near the old factory there. And I was just had concerns they're not going to be damaging that drainage. Is there? Because there's like a water sewage around my house. And I guess they bought that property and I see they're surveying it off. And I was told they were going to build apartments. And I just was hoping they weren't going to damage the drainage path of the water there.
So we haven't seen those plans. I know, Dennis, we've talked about in various engineering meetings. I don't know that it's quite on the list just yet.
Okay.
Probably because of this new, development that is coming to town, and we haven't got much further with that. So stay tuned.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
By the way, this is definitely the forum in which to ask that question.
Okay.
Jonathan Duff, resident of Hart Street. Probably should have brought it up, I guess, before everything started with the public hearings, but I assumed various road improvements was a part of Hart Street. We were told end of 2024 last year when we all talked, so that's now not going to happen. Probably going to see 2025. I just wish we had some more details as to the whys of all these delays, right? There's not details of whys. I think the residents of our street are owed the whys. We can speak afterward, that's fine, but just pretty disappointing when you're driving 4 miles an hour up the street daily.
Believe me, I'm just as disappointed.
We just need some whys.
Yeah.
Need some whys.
Steve, do you want to address it? Yeah.
It's a federal and state grant that is just going through this very tedious process. And finally, with Brett being so on top of it, we're actually getting to final stages of design and approval. But that still just takes another 6 to 8 months to get through. Then we're sitting at in the winter where we can't do sidewalk.
I get it, but a heads up is always just nice. Just talking back and forth. We're working on it.
Yeah.
It was only within the last 2 weeks that we were told that it was going to be delayed. So
since I've been on council, for instance,
Yeah.
New Jersey Transit, every year they're going to replace the bridge. 2025.
Yeah.
Well,
We just got to
We'll
use that
see.
1 minute, sir.
We'll see.
it's disappointing. I know.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Hey, Leah Epstein, 83 Main, speed comment. I just wanted to say I wasn't able to attend the meeting Monday because it was Passover, but I heard a lot of good things, but I also really appreciate what we heard tonight, and I just wanted to say to council, it is so helpful to everyone who lives here when council has these sort of thoughtful, respectful conversations where you kind of hear both sides, and I just think it gives people a lot more trust in the process, whatever the outcome. And that was really nice to hear tonight. So thank you guys for being so thoughtful and really, spending a lot of time on this issue, however it ends up turning out in the long run. So that's all I wanted to say.
Karen Gold, 15 Mill Street. This is a good thing. Thank you for taking care of the softball fields.
Yeah, it's group effort. Thanks. Anybody else?
It's fine. Ed Zaliga, 32 MacArthur. It'll pick you up. You can just talk. You don't have to touch it. Yeah, cool. It's really exciting to hear about all these new developments and proposals and everything. And obviously want to see the economic development, being in the business. I know just how much money the developers, the contractors, the subcontractors, and every tier of this, how much money these people are going to make. I just want that to have you all consider how much leverage you all have in planning and zoning and making these developments work the best for us, the residents here in High Bridge. So please, just get us a Wawa or something.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Doyle?
Yes.
Ferry?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Matos?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
And Noel?
Yes.
Next council meeting, May 9th.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.